Nothing ruins a relationship more than your fears, right? Nothing can be a bigger sabotaging piece to what you're trying to build to get in your own way than your fears. And there's four main fears, to be exact, that you want to make sure you conquer before you continue to try to build in a relationship. First is the fear of vulnerability, meaning you are highly concerned about opening up to your partner and talking about deep things that you maybe never had before with anyone else and so forth, where you stay more guarded than, more enthusiastic about letting your partner into those different parts of you, right? To where connecting deeper on an emotional way is really scary to you. So you kind of skirt around things, or maybe when it's time to talk about really important stuff, you crack a joke or try to always lighten the mood, and you never really connect and go there, right? Because you feel something's going to be exposed about you, or, the trust isn't fully there for you with that person. Or maybe you don't trust yourself enough that you can trust them with this information, or else it may mean something negative about you when they find out about it, or you haven't conquered whatever that emotional thing is yourself, so you're scared to bring it to them. Whatever reasons, to where you start creating your own sense of disconnect to your partner. Then you slowly start developing an even deeper fear of intimacy, right? To where not only disconnecting emotionally by sharing things and being vulnerable to open up in your conversation, you also can't fully connect when you're trying to do intimate things like hugging and so forth, and embrace, because there's subconscious information inside of you, you're keeping withheld from your partner, which your body starts to symbolize and show through the way you operate in your mannerisms and how tense you may be whenever your partner tries to get into certain personal spaces of yours. Second, you gotta conquer your fear of abandonment. That feeling deep down that you may be left at any given moment, or that you're never fully safe or secure in the relationship, is absolutely going to hinder your ability to truly connect and bond and build something that can last with your partner, because you're too busy trying to live in survival mode. And that fear is really dangerous because it starts to lead to jealousy, clinginess, and then subconsciously pushing your partner away out of fear that if you don't, you'll wind up experiencing what you fear most, which is in being left, because maybe you were left as a child by a parent, or, everyone in your life has always bailed on you, or all your significant others have always been the ones to walk away, or what have you, to where you start thinking that's what people are always going to do. You project it onto your partner, and you start trying to get ahead of experiencing that by pushing them away first. And that rolls us into the third fear you have to conquer, which is the fear of rejection, to where you're so concerned deep down, right? That little ugly truth that you don't want to tell your partner, or don't want to tell other people, because you feel it exposes you as being really insecure or whatever, right? But you have this constant deep down feeling that you're going to be dismissed at some point, right? It's really similar to the fear of abandonment, but it's feeling like whenever you go to your partner, either emotionally or when you show them more of who you are, you're going to be rejected for it, right? You're more concerned about that, to where you start operating in a way to where you are subconsciously, or maybe even consciously, withholding things from your partner. You're not opening up and being, as connecting and bond oriented as you could be, to where you're almost intentionally or subconsciously keeping certain information from them, to where they can't fully connect to you, which starts to come off as misdirection or you being deceptive. And it's one of the easiest ways to build unnecessary miscommunication in your relationship, because your partner becomes frustrated and doesn't understand why you won't share your true feelings or desires with them. And so it leaves something to be yearned for, as if there's something they're missing out about you, or they just can't fully connect with you on a deep enough level, or they don't know enough about you. It's always something that's mysterious, and it starts to make them feel really uncertain and question the relationship. And for you, you just start to harden into that, because the more they become frustrated, the more it makes you want to double down on keeping those things withheld to yourself, because you feel like that rejection may be coming around any turn. Or if you try to really bring it up and open it up to them, they'll reject you hard, to where now you start feeling embarrassed or insecure about doing it ever in the first place. And the fourth and maybe biggest fear you have to conquer, or make sure it doesn't get you in your relationship, is the fear of commitment. right? To where, yeah, you're loving the person you're with and you're enjoying the experience that you're having, but somewhere deep down, there's a void or you're not at peace with something fully to where committing to that person means something negative. It means you're losing something more than what you're gaining to commit to. So you put more energy into keeping things the way they are. Maybe you're in a situationship or whatever, or maybe you're stuck in the kind of like beginning relationship stages to where your partner's ready to move on to the next tier where you guys can go from here. Maybe it's marriage or whatever it is. And you are either intentionally or subconsciously trying to delay that instead of do it, or fight from, committing to the equation fully and going both feet in instead of keeping one foot in, one foot out. And what happens? It winds up preventing the relationship from growing and stabilizing. And then it starts causing a sense of uncertainty for you and for your partner. And then instability to where the relationship's shaky the whole time. Nothing ever feels like it's on solid ground. And it starts breeding anxiety into the fabric of what you're trying to have with the other person. The way you start beating these fears first is self-awareness. Becoming aware of the fears you have, acknowledging them, right? Not shaming them, and starting to reflect and learn from them and start dissecting how those fears are causing you to show up in your relationship or not show up that is impacting the dynamic of your relationship, and get down to the root as to why that fear is there. What inside of yourself do you feel you will be losing that is telling you to not go do this thing that fear is telling you not to do, right? What's that fear stemming from? What's giving it power? And what do you need to offer it to have resolve and peace? Second, you need open communication. You have to start to come and bring your partner into that experience. If you're scared to open up and tell them things for whatever reason, tell them that, right? You don't have to go into the deep things you're scared to tell them, but tell them that you're scared to tell them, and tell them maybe why. Tell them where you're having an obstacle with in trying to get there. See, your partner can work with you a lot better if they understand where you're at and where you're coming from, and they can relate or bring themselves to be there with you, and they can help you through it, versus they can't do anything with the information you don't give. And the more they can tell you or trying to hide information, then now it just starts to plant ugly seeds in their mind that can get fed with negative thoughts and pessimism and feel like there's something that you have wrong with them. But the more you're open, upfront, and honest, the more they can work with you and help you work through the situation so you have a teammate instead of trying to feel like you're doing it on your own when you don't really have to. Third thing you can do is seek support, right? If you don't feel like you have the tools or don't know how to put it all together, then go find a therapist, a counselor, a coach, whatever is helpful to you best by a professional or someone that does this for a living that can actually give you the healthiest tools to get the most efficient results. Go do that if you need to. Fourth thing you can do is build trust gradually with your partner. You don't have to jump both feet in and try to start, open up vulnerably and do all these things you're not prepared for on 1,000 in the beginning. Pick little small things to start opening up and trusting your partner with and connecting on and being intimate about and just easing yourself in like you do with anything else. If you're going to try to get really good in something in life, you don't just go running into it and try to be the best from day one. You start learning the fundamentals, the foundations. You take one step again, and another step forward, right? And you keep building your momentum with those steps until you get to a bigger, better place, and you build that muscle stronger to where you can do more with it. And while you're doing this in the process, your subconscious is starting to learn that it's a safe thing to open up and connect with your partner. And it starts slowly disproving all the fears narratives that it's been planting in your brain to say, hey, doing this is going to get you a bad result, so stay away from it to protect yourself. You'll start slowly learning that this actually helps you and helps you go further faster and feel the way you want to feel versus what the fear is trying to prevent you from, that it's actually blocking you from the experience you actually want to have. And lastly, you got to practice self-compassion. Do not beat yourself up because these fears are something that's there and it's difficult to deal with, right? It's okay. It's a process. So give yourself the grace to recognize, hey, this is going to be a journey. I don't need to rush through it, and to take it as you need to take it. But just make sure you're actually taking intentional steps forward and not just becoming stagnant. See, if you're just sitting there not doing anything or letting the fears win and they start slowly chipping away at your relationship, then now that's on you, and I would be kicking myself too. So you make sure you're always taking a step forward. You're going to have some better days, some better weeks than others. And sometimes you will have slower ones and not as efficient. But the point is, are you taking a step daily towards getting there? and offer yourself the grace to know that this is going to be a challenging journey. But as long as you are moving forward and making progress, that's all anyone can ask of you. And I'm pretty sure your partner will appreciate it if you're doing that versus the latter, to where you're just being guarded, not opening up altogether, and letting the fear win. Let's get it.